It's finally here after 14 days. 14 days, actually more than 14 days of not being able to print because of one missing ink. Today, finally, we're going to be able to finish the photographic workproof series by printing a couple of prints. So stay tuned. Okay, here we are. We have an image that I would like to print. Let's see how it turns out. I mean, I already did the camera calibration using the Calibrite Passport. In Photoshop itself, actually in Lightroom, I just straightened the edges a little bit. That's all I did. Nothing major, maybe a little bit of lens corrections, and then I saved it to Photoshop. Now, I did some exposure adjustments, as you can see, because I exposed this image for the highlights to keep all the detail in these clouds, because at the end of the day I can recover my shadow detail. Here I also did some hue and saturation adjustments. Now on my screen it looks great, it looks saturated, my blues look really interesting, my greens look also very nice, but I'm not going to trust my monitor. I'm not going to trust my camera calibration. I am going now to trust on hard proofing. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to automate and open Canon PPL. And it's a great software. It does give a lot of latitude in terms of the things that you can do with it. And it's very accurate. That's what matters the most. I believe that trusting the or letting the software or guess in Photoshop is not ideal, because if you already color manage your image from the beginning, why should you worry about the printing too much? So, all right, so we're going to choose. Yeah, let's go with the Canon Infinity printer. It's a Barita photo paper, A3. I like to have a large border around my images to be able to keep it clean, and if I need to sign the print, I can sign it down here. All right, so it's an A3 print, manual feed tray, the highest quality. Use contrast reproduction. I like to use contrast reproduction because it does give me the basically what I saw on my monitor. It's not the most accurate that way, but it does a good job, right? So as you can see right here, I already set the profile for this paper, which I downloaded from the Canon website, and it's all ready to go. But on a second, this is the interesting part. We're going to color settings, and at the bottom, we're going to do a pattern print. Remember, I talked about doing a hard proofing rather than relying on my soft proofing on the monitor. All right, I don't want to have a small variation. I don't like having a huge variation. Basically, what it's doing, it's doing a printing out directions between each color. So basically, let's see if I can show you color settings between cyan, magenta, and yellow. Okay, so let's go ahead and print this, and let's evaluate the print. All right, so I installed the Photo Magenta, and as I did that, it told me that now the gray wasn't low anymore, that it was empty, and the yellow was empty too. I don't know how, maybe because it started moving the cartridges. It did that, I don't know. But anyways, so instead of replacing one, I had to replace 3 cartridges. So right now, the printer is shaking the inks. All right, let's see. It's finished. It says that my red ink is running low. Okay, well, let's go ahead and print. If it does run out, I do have a replacement. That's one of the frustrating things about the Canon Pro 300, small cartridges. The Pro 1000 has 25 ml cartridges, which should last a lot longer than this. And at the end of the day, the price of the printer is not that important. What's important is the fact that you'll be spending money on ink. And ml per ml, the Pro 300 is more expensive for inks. So, something to consider. Very well, let's go downstairs and let's start printing. All right, so here we go. We have our pattern print. So I let it dry for about half an hour. And the first question a lot of you should be asking is, what type of lighting conditions are you viewing this print? And my answer is, I'm viewing it in the same lighting conditions that I'm going to display it. In this case, I'm going to have this image in this room. So this is usually how it looks like in here, with the way that my walls are painted and the way the light comes in here. So let's take a look at this. Very well. Now this right here at the center is my 000 cyan, magenta, and yellow right here. If we go towards the right, it's adding actually subtracting -3 of magenta and adding 6 of yellow, -6 of cyan, -6 of magenta, and 12 points of yellow. So this pattern right here, let's look at some of these extremes right here. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit so I can show you what I'm talking about. All right, let's see. Let's look at some of these extremes right here. This is -18 cyan, 9 points of magenta, and 9 points of yellow. It's definitely not what I'm looking for. On the other side, let's see. We have right here 18 points of cyan, -9 of magenta, and -9 of yellow. Yeah, it looks a little bit darker. Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's focus right here. Now, since I did camera calibration, I applied the profile in Lightroom and in Photoshop. All right, so I know that my camera is calibrated, and therefore my print should come very close to the best image possible. All right, so right here I see a little bit more of yellow. The blue looks okay, the white looks okay. The difference is minimal. It's this one right here, because I do see here, especially in the clouds up here, a tiny little bit of
magenta. And on this print with -3 magenta and -3 cyan and a little bit of yellow, it looks a little bit more natural. Now, if I go up this way, which is a +C cyan, -6 magenta, and 3 yellow, I'm starting to see a little bit of green where it should be yellow right there. So I do prefer this one. Let me take a look at a little bit further down this way with less cyan. I don't know. Actually, interesting, because it's adding 18 points of yellow on this image, and it does look a little bit more natural, the colors that I saw when I took the photograph. And it removed some of the cyan that I saw on the original. So I'm going to give it a try. I know that this should be as close to the calibration that I did with camera calibration, but this one right here, it seems to me that the yellows are a little bit stronger. It does add 12 points of yellow here, so it removes some of the cyan and some of the magenta. I don't see an extra cyan on the original, but I do see some magenta right there on the clouds. So I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go with this one and see how that looks like, because it seems to me that it gives me the most natural colors. Very well. Let's go ahead. Let's go downstairs, and I'll show you how to make the adjustments, and we'll print the A3 Plus print from doing this hard proofing analysis. Very well, so here we are. Okay, so I'm gonna do this step by step. The mountain looks fine. The building, the yellow building, looks fine. But I noticed something. I don't know if you can see right here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Look at the blues right here. And I can see clearly a line right there. And even at this side of the print, with all this magenta, look at that in the sky. So it went from a nice blue, white clouds, to this mess right here. Look at that. Okay, so I don't know what happened. There's clearly some type of banding magenta. I noticed that I'm running low on magenta on the printer. I don't know if that's the reason why, but this is definitely a problem, most definitely. Because now I don't know if I should keep the adjustments or not. I don't know if this is an issue because of the adjustments or not. So what should I do? I think this is a printing issue. This is a printer issue right here. This cannot exist. So let's go downstairs. Let me look at the in my image, And let's see if I can find, if we can see this mess on the screen or not.
All right, so here we are back at the computer. I don't see any magenta right there. I checked my print. Let me see if I can move this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any magenta. My image, I checked my file, everything is fine. So in other words, this must be a printer issue. It does not make sense to me how there's this banding across the image at different places. You can see that the blue here is a deep blue. It's a lighter blue on the other side right here, but there is no magenta in here. There is no magenta. Well, it might be a waste of paper. I'm gonna give it another try. I'm going to give it another try. See if maybe after the inks have been moved a little bit more, if I can fix this print. And I will be brightening it by 5 points, just a little bit, so that we can see a little bit more detail, especially in this area right here at the bottom. All right, so let's try it again.
All right, here we are. Garbage, absolute garbage. Now, my printer tells me that let me actually read it for you guys. It says, the ink may have run out. Replacing the ink tank is recommended. It's recommended. So very well, I wasted 2 sheets of paper, inks, time, and this is the garbage that he gave me. Now the banding starts all the way on this side, all across the sky. So basically, in other words, everything that I did today is down the drain, including the pattern print that we did, because it would render this useless. If there was any kind of effect of being low on magenta on my pattern print, then today was basically a waste of time. Very well, so let me zoom in a little bit, guys, so I can show you more detail. I don't know if you can see how on the oh yeah, this is pretty obvious on the top left of the image. On the first one, look at that, blue. And on the first one, the magenta was towards the end of the print, and on this one, it's all across, absolutely all across. So this is an issue. This is definitely an issue. This is a waste of time, a waste of ink, a waste of paper. Now I have to order yet another cartridge to be able to print. So what I'm going to do, guys, is this. Today I ended up replacing 5 cartridges, guys, 5. And still, this is the quality that it turned out. Right now, as a backup, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inks. But what it forces me to do is for me to buy the whole set at once. Maybe it will arrive here in a couple of days or not. because apparently even when the ink is running low, it can cause this kind of defects in printing, which is a pity, because if it's low, then you know, it should allow me to print. And if it's going to this kind of garbage, then it should just warn me that it's impossible to print, rather than having me waste time and money. So very well, guys, so far this part of the series have been very disappointing, but it can be something useful for you guys before considering buying a printer like this, because this is the kind of stuff you guys can run into, and one should take into account before purchasing the Canon Pro 300. I'm not happy about this at all, but I guess it's part of the process, and I'll order more inks, and maybe someday I'll be able to finish the series. Now imagine this, guys. Imagine that this was for a client. 2 weeks waiting for the ink to arrive. It finally arrives. I not only replace the Photo Magenta, but I have to replace other cartridges too. And now I'm low on Magenta, and I have zero to show to my client if this was for a client. So things to consider before buying the Canon Pro 300. All right, so here we are. After a couple of hours of wasting my time. Okay, so what happened? Well, I did my pattern print, which is absolutely useless now, because I don't know that, or if there's any effect done by having a low magenta on that pattern print. I don't know, so I cannot trust it. It told me that the ink was low, which should be able to allow me to print. If it's low, then I should be able to print, but no. This banding, which is very interesting, it started at a specific point during the print. Look at that, you can clearly see right here where it started and just started getting worse. And even here towards the end, there's a clear line right there where it suddenly my blues became very magenta. I assumed that I could continue my hard proofing process. I assumed that maybe it was because you know, I couldn't print for a couple of weeks because I didn't have the Photo Magenta. But apparently it was the magenta that messed up my print. You can see right here, this is awful. This is absolutely awful. This is a waste of paper and ink and time. But it's a great lesson. You know, we see a lot of reviews online that praise a lot of gear, but it's videos like this one that really talk about the real issues of gear that one has to be concerned about. If I knew that I was low on magenta, which by the way, I can show pictures that I wasn't, I would have replaced the magenta beforehand. But again, so I'm replacing inks before even telling me that it's low, or if it's low, that means I have to replace it. So instead of just replacing one cartridge, I ended up replacing four cartridges, which is crazy. For one that was with no ink, I ended up with replacing four, and now I have a magenta that I don't have as a backup. Look at this. I have Photo Cyan, I have the chroma optimizer, I have another chroma optimizer, I have a cyan, what is this, PBK, I have a yellow, and another PBK, and yet I can't print. So I'm gonna have to go back into order inks once again. This time I'm going to order all the inks at once, and any ink that tells me it's slow, I'm gonna have to replace it. So there we go, guys. The Canon Pro 300 is not what I thought it would be. Now I say I should have bought the Pro 1000 with bigger ink cartridges rather than the Pro 300, or maybe I should have gone with another brand altogether. I mean, that's the reality of it. So that's the way it is. I wanted you guys to know what happened so that you can make your decisions on what printers to buy in the future. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll be able to finish this, guys. I hope so. Let's see. Maybe in a week or two. Please subscribe if you haven't, and have a great day.